Have you ever wondered if you're really technical enough to build and launch an app? If you're a non-tech founder, an entrepreneur without a coding background, and you're stepping into this no-code space, maybe you are trying to build your app, you're kind of playing around with the different tools. Are you wondering whether or not you're really technical to find success with this? Uh, this is a question that you honestly might have asked yourself before, and I understand. And I want to have um, just kind of an open conversation about it because it's hard to see people feeling defeated or limited by what they can accomplish just based on their background, whether or not they have a technical background. I was having a conversation the other day with a non-technical entrepreneur, and he had tried so many different ways to build his app. He had tried to go the traditional development agency route, and the price tag was just too high. He just didn't want to invest the hundreds of thousands of dollars it was going to take. So he stepped into the no-code space and he tried outsourcing with no-code agencies because he still wanted someone else to build it. And the problem was the product he got in return just wasn't really what he envisioned because, he was trying to convey his own idea to someone else and it just wasn't executed very well. And so that was kind of a sunk cost for him, unfortunately. And so then he did try to take development into his own hands. He tried going through different programs to help him learn how to use no-code tools. He was trying to learn how to use Bubble specifically to build his unique and customized app. And he wasn't successful. He just couldn't get things to work. He felt like, honestly, he just wasn't technical enough. Forget the fact that he didn't have a tech background and that you don't really need a tech background because if you're using a no-code platform, you're not coding. Forget that. He just felt like this whole tech space was just beyond him. You might have felt the same way before. Like, even though you're building a no-code app, you're not coding, you're still just not technical enough. You might feel hesitant or scared to spend a bunch of time trying to learn how to build your app and then not having it work on the other end, investing your time and money and just getting no return. So again, I just want to have an open conversation about this. And I want to talk about the things that might hold you back if you don't have a technical background and you're trying to build a no-code app. And make sure you stick around until the end because we're also going to talk about how to move past those things and why they don't actually have to hold you back. Now, first, if you're new around here, my name is Kristen, and I'm the co-founder of Coaching No Code Apps, where we help business owners and industry experts build custom apps to either start their app-based businesses or grow their existing businesses, all without coding. No technical background required. And the reality is, myself, Gabby, my co-founder, our team of expert coaches, we also don't have technical backgrounds. We all own and run our own businesses, and we've all built our apps, but none of us have coding backgrounds. We don't come from the technical space. We come from all different industries, and yet we have successfully built app after app after app. We have helped our clients build and launch app after app after app. In fact, one of our clients who went through our Build to Scale program reached out to us the other day via email, and he let us know that he had his biggest month in July with his app that he launched earlier this year. He had a $25,000 month with his app, and he doesn't have a technical background. So what's the difference? What's that separating factor? What's the divider between the person who comes into this space and just feels like they're not technical enough, and then the people who come into this space without a tech background, but who can still execute their development, who can go through these launches, and who can really reach their goals. No tech backgrounds, but they can actually build and launch an app. What is the difference? All right, that is what we're going to go through. So, are you technical enough? Are you technical enough? Well, there are a few main things that are going to, or that could hold you back. Not that will, because again, we're going to talk about how to move past these, but three things that could hold you back and that we see holding a lot of people back because they don't know any better, right? You don't know what you don't know. So the first thing is one of the biggest reasons why you might be struggling, if you're feeling this way or if you're wondering this, is that you are not a developer, right? You're not a developer. And a lot of people who are stepping into the no-code space and who are wanting to launch an app, they think that all they need to do is, choose a platform to build their app on, learn how to use the platform, and then they're off to the races. And unfortunately, that's just not the reality. People spend years learning how to successfully not just build an app, but build an app correctly. Okay, so figuring out the strategy that goes into it, because there's a lot of strategy that does go into it. And this is one of the things that you might have felt stuck with as you've been moving forward. And again, we're going to talk about how to move past this, but if you felt that way, know that you're not alone. This is really normal, and you're not a developer, and that's okay. That's okay. The second more technical component that you might come up against is that you might not have had experience in the past with things like spreadsheets or if this, then that logic, which is what you're going to be using a lot with visual programming, right? Building an app visually. Those are, you don't need a technical background to have experience in those things. But if you don't have experience in those things, even, without a technical background, you might find yourself feeling a little bit confused when you try to do things like structure your database, for example, when you try to create that logic that runs your app successfully. So if you don't have experience in those areas, you might have felt like, this is not for me, or I just can't jump that hurdle. I'm just not technical enough. Okay. Again, we're going to talk about how to get around this. Okay. And the last really big thing that you might be feeling is just that you don't have experience in this, right? So, beyond the fact that you're not a developer, but you might be stepping into this space for the very first time. If you're watching this video, that's probably true. You just don't have experience in this space. But this is just like anything else that you're learning for the first time. You don't have experience with it. So there is going to be a process of learning if you want to do this yourself, if you want to build your own app and have that control and really create exactly what you're envisioning, right? It's just like anything else. Again, a lot of people come into this space and they think it's as simple as just picking a platform to build their app on, and then they're off to the races. But that's just not the case. Okay, you don't have experience in this, and it's the exact same as learning any other type of skill and accomplishing any other type of growth related goal. Okay, so with all those things being said, there are ways around this. You do not have to be technical. As I've already gone through, we see non-technical entrepreneurs building and launching their apps every single day successfully. They come into this space without a tech background, and yet they're still able to accomplish their goals. So we're going to talk about this kind of dividing factor, that conversation that I was referencing in the beginning, where that entrepreneur was telling me, he just felt like it was just beyond him, right? What divides him from all the other people who are accomplishing these things? Well, we're going to go through 3 specific things that you really need to understand if you're not technical, if you don't have a technical background, and if you're feeling like this may be a stretch for you. Okay, so the first thing you need to do is just find a process that works. And I know that sounds simple, and stick with me, bear with me here. This is kind of what you need to understand. We have literally spent years perfecting our process. We did not come into this space and all of the sudden start launching apps and growing apps. That did not happen. This has been an evolution over years of time. And throughout that time, we have perfected our process. We figured out exactly what you need to know in order to, be in that initial idea stage with your app and pull it out of your head correctly, because there's actually a way to do this, and then actually get to the point of having a product that you can put into your users' hands. Again, if you don't have experience in this space, you're not a developer, then it can seem like it should be simple. It's no code. What's so hard about it? But we've put in years of iterations and research and collecting data and working with our clients to put together a process that really works for us and for our clients. And there are lots of different pieces and components to that. And even more importantly than that, than just finding a process that works, find a process that works for you. Because for the person who I was having this conversation with, he had already tried going through some different processes, and he still couldn't find success on the other side. But he was looking at them as if they were all one and the same. And you have to understand that, number one, you need a process that works. You have to make sure it actually works. And number two, it has to work for you. What are your goals? What type of app are you building? What are the constraints that you are working with in your life, in your job, whatever it may be, right? You have to find something that works for you, okay? Now, the second thing I want you to understand if you're feeling this way, and this is a really important one. Again, if you're building an app and it's feeling very difficult, you don't have to do it alone. You don't have to do it alone. A lot of people come into this space as solopreneurs, solo founders. They want to build something on their own, or maybe they have a really small team, or maybe a co-founder or a partner of some sort. But they just kind of flounder throughout the process trying to figure everything out. And it can feel really defeating. And it can lead you back to that feeling of not being technical enough. But you don't have to do this alone. And this is a hard one for a lot of people. And this is actually a lesson that I have learned and really implemented into my own growth and development, personally and from a business standpoint. One of the most important things I've learned is that if you want to achieve a result, if you have a big goal, if you are aiming for growth, there is nothing more valuable than having a mentor or a guide who you can turn to. And again, I'm speaking to this from personal experience, because every time I have had a business goal, a financial goal, something that I'm trying to accomplish, the first thing I've done is not dive into this abyss of planning and figuring out all the little details. It's looking for who can help me achieve what I am looking to achieve in the quickest and most efficient way possible, in a way that works for me. Because there are so many people out there who have done exactly what you're trying to do today. So many people who have been there and done it before. And I mentioned that we have gone through years of figuring out a process that works. Well, during those years, we did a lot of trial and error. We failed a lot. we figured out what didn't work just as much as we figured out what did work. And when you're trying to accomplish something like this, launching your app without a technical background, you have to understand that you don't have to do this alone. You can partner up with someone, you can find a guide, you can find mentors, and they can help you through this, and they can help you avoid all of the backtracking, all of the trial and error that most people end up going through that leads them back to feeling like they're not technical enough. You don't have to do this alone. Find a process that works and find one that works for you. Now, the last really big thing, and it's kind of an overarching principle that I want you to apply on top of everything else we've talked about. And that is that there are 3 factors that you're going to have to consider when you're building your app, right? If you're building a no-code app, you have to consider the cost, how much it's going to cost you to build your app, or how much it's going to cost you to invest in yourself and to build your own skills. You have to consider the time. How long is it going to take you? And you have to consider the quality of your app. How well has this app been built? Is it optimized for performance? And is it going to scale on the other end so that once you do start bringing users on board, you don't just have to go back and rebuild everything, which is obviously a position that you don't want to be in. So you have to think about the cost, the time, and the quality. Now, the rule here is that you can only have 2 out of the 3, okay? When it comes to app development and you're considering these 3 factors, you can only have 2 out of the 3. So if you want a really cheap app, right, you don't want to invest money into it, but you want an app that is really high quality, well, you're gonna have to compromise on the time frame. It's going to take you a really, really, really long time to build an app without investing anything, but while having that quality that enables it to perform well and to be scalable. On the flip side, if you want a really high quality app, but you want to build it a lot more quickly so that you can launch it and actually start getting feedback from your users, well, you're going to have to invest more, okay? Those are the 3 factors that you're going to be considering. Know that you need to prioritize 2 out of the 3, and this is going to help you set expectations. So if you're not feeling technical enough, which ones are you prioritizing? Or are you trying to get all 3 when in reality you can only have 2? Because sometimes that's the case. People come into this space and they think, well, it's no code, I can do this myself. That means I don't have to spend anything on it. And since I'm building it, I can make sure it's really high quality. And since it's no code, I can build it really quickly. Well, it's just not that simple. This doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be hard if you understand that you need the right process and a process that works for you, that you don't have to do it alone, and that you need to prioritize the things that matter most for you and your app. And you need to set the right expectations for yourself. Because if you come in having unrealistic expectations, then there is no doubt in my mind that you're going to feel like you're not technical enough, because you're just not prioritizing the right things. And it's just leading you to have unclear expectations on what you can actually accomplish. So again, if you feel like maybe you're not technical enough, even though we're in the no code space here, I totally get it. I understand, and you are not alone. You're not alone. There are, these different factors that can weigh on you and make you feel like it's just out of your kind of zone. And that's okay. It is going to be outside of your comfort zone. If you want to grow and you want to achieve these goals that you have for yourself, for your app, for your business, it's going to push you outside of that comfort zone. And you're going to have to find that process, know that you don't have to do it alone, and understand which things you need to prioritize in order to set your expectations correctly. So you can also know that if you're not reaching those goals, you're not achieving what you want, well, maybe look back at those priorities and maybe they're a little bit misaligned. So I hope that's helpful. I hope you're able to move forward from this with more confidence if you are feeling a little bit hesitant about this. And if you want to get started quickly with your app without coding, without a tech background, we have a free training at coachingnocodeapps.com/workshop, and it'll guide you through those initial steps with your app. It'll help you get kind of hit the ground running with your app. Doesn't matter what your technical background is. This is the process we take our clients through, and they also come to us without technical background. So if you want to get started quickly, head to coachingnocodeapps.com/workshop, and you can go ahead and sign up for that training. All right, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.